I have reviewed the Huawei P10 and the P10 Plus quite a while ago, and they are still really solid phones for the price despite a few shortcomings. The Huawei P10 Lite is a cheaper yet still a pretty good phone. It costs around $300 US depending on the region, but it has quite a few features like a premium design and decent specs. My name is Linus, stay tuned for the full TechLine HD review. Just before we start, I will leave all the links including the camera samples, reviews of the Huawei P10 and the P10 Plus in the video description down below. The phone ships with all the usual stuff, and some extras include a pair of earphones and a fast charger. The Huawei P10 Lite looks more similar to the Honor series phones as it uses glass on the front and rear, tactile metal buttons, and a metal chassis. The device is well made. I found it quite comfortable to hold in one hand, and it looks and feels quite expensive. As with most of the glass phones, the P10 Lite attracts fingerprints and smudges quite quickly, and it's also quite slippery. We have a 5.2-inch 1080p display, which is nice and sharp. The sunlight legibility is decent, but I found it to be slightly reflective outdoors. There are on-screen navigation keys, and luckily you can switch the position of the toggles. There is also a notification LED light, which is a feature sometimes overlooked by other manufacturers in the mid-range segment. The fingerprint scanner is fast and accurate. Also, you can unlock the phone straight from the standby mode. When it comes to specifications, the Huawei P10 Lite is a mid-range level phone as it ships with an octa-core high silicon Kirin 658 chip, 3GB of RAM and 32GB of internal storage. There is also 4GB and 64GB models that are available in different markets. These kind of specs assure a pretty good gaming performance, as I was able to play most of the graphically intensive 3D games without any issues. Sure, you may see some skipped frames on the highest graphics settings in some games, but I can't really complain about that. As most of the phones right now, the Huawei P10 Lite runs on Android 7, but it has the Emotion UI 5.1 skin on top of it, which looks a lot different than stock Android user interface. At the first glance, the UI may look a little bit cartoonish, but I got used to using it and actually started to like it since there are a lot of useful features and customization options. Just to name a few, you can use a fingerprint scanner to open up quick settings window or notification shade, take pictures or swipe photos in the gallery. You can also adjust quite a few display settings, use some gesture and motion controls that work pretty well, change the animations, transition effects, and so on. What impressed me the most, however, is the speed and fluidity of the user interface. I'm yet to see the phone stutter or lag even after installing quite a lot of apps. When it comes to optics, the Huawei P10 Lite has a 12 megapixels main camera with f2.2 aperture lens, but there is no optical image stabilization. On the front, we have an 8 megapixels autofocus shooter. The daylight image quality is just great considering this is a mid-range level phone. There is plenty of detail, sharpness, the colors look natural, and even the dynamic range adjustment is accurate most of the time. Also, I like that the macro shots look sharp and usually have a nice bokeh effect. Obviously, the quality decreases in low light as the pictures look grainier, but the phone is capable of taking some nice looking images for a mid-range level phone. The selfie image quality is pretty good. The pictures will look really awesome on social media if you use a blurred background effect, but keep in mind that there will be some artifacts going on in some of the shots. The 1080p video looks quite good, the colors look nice, and continuous autofocus feature works fine. So currently I'm recording a video with the Huawei P10 Lite. This is a budget version of the Huawei P10 flagship. The 1080p selfie video could have slightly more detail, but in general the quality is pretty good. The sound recording quality is decent, but it could be slightly better. The Huawei P10 Lite has a really good bottom-mounted loudspeaker that produces a rich and balanced sound. The sound quality via the headset jack is also pretty good. The P10 Lite has a hybrid dual SIM card tray that can take either 2 SIMs or 1 SIM and the micro SD card. As far as connectivity, I didn't have any issues at all. The signal reception and the call quality have been excellent, the Wi-Fi speed and range are great, and finally, the GPS is very accurate. The phone ships with a 3000 mAh battery that will easily let you use the phone for the entire day or more. I was able to get over 5.5 hours of screen on time, but your mileage may vary depending on the usage. Finally, it takes about 1.5 hours to fully charge the phone with a supplied fast charger. The Huawei P10 Lite is a solid mid-range phone, and I think it offers quite a lot of value for the price. It looks great, it's well built, the display is nice and sharp, and the phone is really fast on the daily basis. Also, the camera is really good for the mid-range phone, and finally, the battery life is decent. However, the Emotion UI is full of features, but not everyone may like the way it looks and feels. Also, the phone is quite slippery since it's made mostly of glass, the display is a bit reflective outdoors, and finally, the P10 Lite still uses the micro USB charging port, not the USB Type-C. At the end of the day, the Huawei P10 Lite is still a great mid-range phone that offers quite a few flagship features at a much lower price, despite a few shortcomings. It was Linus, thanks for watching, and as always guys, if you have any questions, please drop me a comment down below. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and finally, if you want to get all the latest updates, please follow TechLine HD on social media like on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. See you soon.